So I've always thought this. I've just never had an opportunity to put it somewhere. But if you're gonna come to Christ, like if you're gonna come to religion and salvation, I say do it younger. The earlier, the better, because it's a process. It's a process that God takes you through to refine you to the person that He needs you to be in this world. And there's certain things that He needs to put to death within you, like old bits and pieces, right? And then there's like new pieces that He needs to put in you. New levels of faith, new levels of understanding. Like, you got to get, spiritual. You got to get scripture inside of you. You got to get a relationship. And the thing is when the younger you are, the more time you have to develop in all those things, to let that process marinate in, because I've seen, I know people personally, people who've come, gone through life and they're older and then they, become Christian and now they're like going through the process, but they're much older. And the thing is it's way, way harder. Not impossible. I mean, God can do anything. It's just we're a lot of the times resistant to God working in our lives. Even when you're young, we all fight the process. We want it this way, that way. We want it to look this way, feel that way. We want our own agenda to be accomplished. And God, in His graciousness, will say no. He'll smack our hands from the cookie jar, and He will direct us in a better way. We might not like it, it might not feel good, but God knows exactly how to form the cup that He's looking for, that He needs to use to fill for a certain purpose, right? So the earlier you are, the better it is to go through this process, to go through all the changes, to be formed and reformed and restructured. My point is when, I've seen those older people come through and it's harder for them because now they have baggage on baggage on baggage. I mean, like, real hang-ups, real damage, things that in their life, when you don't follow Christ and you just live any way you want, you're gonna get wounds, man. I mean, Christians get wounds too, but these people, when you're not walking with God, you hang out with the wrong crowds, you hang out with the wrong people, you do the wrong things, and it's just, life is gonna chew you up and spit you out in a different way, for sure. As a Christian, you can lean on God. He's gonna take us through it all. He's faithful to be with us. He'll never leave us nor forsake us. So when we go through those storms, we come out the other end with greater levels of faith, understanding, and relationship. When you're of the world, those things, they leave you damaged, they leave you broken, they leave you thrashed. So, these older people I see come to Christ, it's hard to rebuild that temple when it's only got, 10, 20 years left, and most of it's just rubble and it doesn't want to change. These people, they have so much damage and so much, I've been through this, you don't understand that, God can't do this. And the levels of submission a lot of the times that I've seen from these people, I mean, they're trying, but yet again, they've got a lot of weights that they have to cut off to be set free, to be to a point where they can be used. And it doesn't mean they cannot, absolutely cannot be used. Moses was 80 when he started leading the people through the desert. He was 120 by the time he died. There's plenty of stories in the Bible of people accomplishing things in old age. But my point is that's not the norm, right? That's not the standard of what it looks like to go through that process. We live in 2023 and there's a lot of junk and other things to distract us that keep us away from God. Those people had nothing, and then so the process of pressing into God becomes a lot easier because there's, what is your list of things to do today? Feed the sheep, move the sheep from this area to that area, like find water and grass, like, survive another day. And what are you going to do in between all that? I don't know, twiddle your thumbs and think about God. I mean, press into God. Meditate on Scripture. Nowadays, we have, 24/7 TV, internet, movies, all this junk, right? So it's harder for us in 2023 to reform our lives because we're not exactly pressing into God. We're like half in, half out. I'll read a scripture today, and it's like you read one, I'm going to read it, 4 chapters. You read 1 chapter, you call it good, and you're done for the day. My point is it's a lot harder to press into God when we're so distracted in this modern era. And so if you're going to come to Christ, if you're a young person, I hope you do it now, because God is absolutely real, and he's going to take you through a process of reforming you. The younger you are, the better it is for you, because not only because, he's making you into something else, but he wants to bless his children. He wants to bless those he loves, and he wants to use us as a light in this world. He wants to show off his glory in this world. The devil has his children, and he'll lift them up. How much more so does God want to lift up his children to be glorified in this world? He wants us to be a perfect vessel to show off to the world, and he wants to bless that vessel. But there's a forming process. There's a process you have to go through. The younger you are, the more time you have to go through that process and become that thing he needs to be, so that at a certain point, he can lift you up. He can lift all of us up to become that greater thing, that shining light. So this is my encouragement. If you're young and you're half in, half out, I say press in all the way, give it your all, and God's going to take you through that process. Submit your life, man. He's going to do the work, and one day, you're going to look back and you're going to be grateful, like I am. I got saved at 22. Hated God up to the point of 22. From as young as I can remember till 22, I lived with a drug addict mom that I never saw. My dad lived in another country, and we were Section 8, on food stamps, which my mom sold to buy makeup so she could get new boyfriends. So my whole existence was pain, suffering, and trouble from 0 to 22. Just hated life, hated God. And at 22, I got saved, and God's been taking me on this journey now for quite some time. And so I'm grateful that it happened for me at 22 rather than 42, rather than 62 or 82. God has had time to work on me and to form me into the better person that he needs me to be. So I hope that same thing happens to you. It's not too late if you're in your 30s or 40s. That still doesn't make a difference. God can still use you. He can increase the timetables he needs to get his work accomplished in us. But if you're young, start now. Start pressing into God. Seek God now so he can do that work within you sooner. Because we don't know how much time we have left on this earth. Seek his face now. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. Good luck. God bless. I hope you submit.